Good morning, my artsy friends. Happy Monday morning. Welcome to our regularly scheduled Monday morning live. I'm Ken Johnson, your thrifty apprentice, and as always, I'm very happy that you decided to join me this morning. Before we jump into today, I am going to do a little flip through really quick of everything that I did for Inktober. Now, as you guys know, this year I did not officially participate in Inktober. I kind of just did my own thing. Sometimes I painted a prompt, sometimes I didn't. Sometimes I included ink, sometimes I didn't. Oh, excuse me, but we are going to kind of look at, excuse me, some of the illustrations I tackled using ink throughout October just to participate in the whole Inktober challenge in my own way. So since we've already looked at this, let's just glance at that one first. This was the one from last Monday's live. We used ink. We used a dip pen and dip ink in here. We also used a brown micron fine liner at first. So it's actually two different inks in this one. Most of it is watercolor, but the wall itself was divided off with ink. So it kind of became an Inktober project. Some other things that I've done. Now, this is done inside. I initially made this sketchbook to do all of Inktober in, but didn't participate. But one that I did, this particular illustration is done with Derwent ink tints, pan paints, and pencils, if I'm not mistaken, and then some micron black fine liner to put the bats in. Now, I actually recorded this, and I was, kind of asking, as I showed it before, if anyone is interested in seeing the process on actually creating this, let me know. I did record it. I can release it for a Wednesday sketch if you guys would like to see it. Um, but I didn't put it up just yet. But this was one of the particular Inktober projects I did. I think I pulled this one from one of the prompts on the list. I believe it was heavy. And I thought about like a heavy moon in the sky. So that's why this one was done. So ink products and gouache. So if you guys are interested, like I said, let me know. I will put this up because I did record it over in Patreon. I think it was a creation station. You guys may have seen this before. And this illustration actually sold in this last Palm Street Live. So I have to package this one up and send it off to the person who purchased it. But it was watercolors and then all of the silhouetted black foliage and trees in the foreground along with the birds was done with Montmartre shimmering drawing ink. So it's like a black drawing ink that has gold shimmer in it. So this became an Inktober project as well. If you are in the creation station and you missed that, you can go back and check that out because not this past creation station live, but I think it was a Monday before that, maybe 2 Mondays ago. But it's in there. You can go find it. Last Creation Station Live, still speaking of Palm Street, we had a paint along where we did, what did we do? Oh, there is the cupcake from what came before October? September. Yeah, September 20, no, it's right there. September 2025. So if you won September 2025 giveaway, you should somewhere in your email box have a link for this real-time tutorial showing you how we painted the cupcake. But what I was getting at was this past Monday over in Palm Street, we painted this thing of garlic, which was done um, with ink and watercolors. I can't remember what watercolors we used, but if you missed last Monday's live over in Patreon, this is available for you. So definitely go check it out. But it was just me using watercolors and ink to kind of draw a piece of garlic, and I kind of walked the class through doing it. Really cool. So that was an Inktober piece. Mind you, none of these necessarily came from the prompt list. It was just me participating, which kind of goes to show you. I encourage you guys and tell you guys all the time, you do not have to necessarily follow the prompts from a prompt list in order to participate in a monthly challenge. All right, moving on in a YouTube video. I want to say it was a YouTube live. video, we did, and this may have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, but there's this landscape done on rough paper. Now, although I did not use actual ink products in it, the idea for this illustration came from the Inktober prompt list. I think the prompt was Arctic. So we kind of painted an Arctic scene live. If you missed that, it is under the live playlist, live tab. So go ahead, hit the live tab at the top of the Thrifty Apprentice YouTube channel, and you'll find a lot of the recent ones I've shown you. If you missed them and you want to go back and check them out, and keep in mind, lives from past weeks have already been have edits done to them, so it's going to be replay friendly. You won't have all the talking in the chat in it. All right, moving on. Nicole sent me a care package about 2, maybe 3 weeks ago. It had this paper in it that she really wanted me to try. Um, and I've tried a couple of sheets of it. Actually, really decent paper. Really decent, especially for the price, because they come in like 3 packs or 4 packs or something like that. In that little care package, there were a bunch of different pens that I kind of played around with and tested on the first page. Because I was considering using them throughout Inktober. And then eventually I did what I call a structured loose flower painting. Now, I'm no loose painting artist. I keep trying my hand at it. I think this may have been the best I've ever done, was trying my hand at a loose painting. So again, I actually did a video of this. I did not put it up, but just like with the moon painting, if you guys decide that you want to see how I walk through doing this illustration, and I did use pens. I used microns. I used one of the pens that Nicole sent in that care package, and I forget what paints I used. But nonetheless, if there's something you think you're interested in seeing, let me know. There's also the daffodil that I did for Inktober. Now, this one came out as a video on the YouTube channel for a Wednesday release. So if you want to go back and check out this pen and ink, and it is in real time. So I'm guiding you through the whole daffodil painting real time. So you can definitely go check that out if you want to. I also did a image from the whimsical house book that I showed you guys earlier, by Karen Campbell. So one of the first illustrations in this book walks you through how to make what's called tumbly tower. And it walks you through step by step up into the finished image. So I kind of followed the instructions and did my own version of the, what is it called? Tumbly Tower here. And I did not paint this one. I just left it in ink after I erased the pencil lines, just so you could see the drawing. I may go back and put some color on here. I may not. She shows you in the book her suggestion for how to color it. I'm not sure if I'll follow this or not. She did use Genze 10 by paints as well as Prismacolor pencils in order to illustrate everything in this book. I haven't quite decided, but it was uh, an image done for Inktober, so I might need to finish it up. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't put ink on it. We'll see. And that, my friends, I think is it. That is all of the illustrations and little doodads that I tackled for Inktober. So as you can see, most of that had absolutely nothing to do with the Inktober prompt list. But I did decide last minute that I wanted to get some Inktober paintings in. So instead of going from the prompt list, I just kind of added ink to my own thing. And so always a way to participate in a challenge, my friends. Always a way to participate in a challenge. What we're doing today, we are working with watercolor pencils. I'm going to be working with that set of watercolor pencils that's in the art box. I'm also throwing in this set of woodless watercolor pencils by Arteza simply because I like them. Um, Probably won't be using much of that. And then I have this palette, as I explained to you guys before, it's actually a watercolor pencil palette made up of the watercolor pencil shavings from the Woodless watercolor pencils in order to have a, ooh, well, not to throw shavings around, number one. which I just did, but in order to have like a palette to paint from. Hold on 1 second. Had to clean it up right quick. So are there any questions or anything so far? If so, don't hesitate to jump in the chat box, throw them in there. I'll be happy to answer whatever as I decide on what we're painting today. So I have a little sketch here. I guess I'm gonna darken this in so you guys can see it a little more, just in case you can't. Um, that way you can get a pretty good idea of what this looks like. All right. 3 sections is kind of wonky in all honesty. And I kind of sketched it out at the last minute. So um, I didn't perfect it. But basically, there is sort of 3 segments. There's a kind of circle here. And then off of that circle is another circle for the second part of the body. And then off of the second circle is the longer part. What would you call this? Like an elongated oval with a little point on it. Okay. And then there are wings. The first two set of wings towards the front come off of the front part of the first circle. And then the second set of wings comes off of the second circle. So they kind of drop. So the first set of wings I just kind of threw over here. Um, and I redrew this twice because sometimes the most simple things are the hard ones, right? And I tried to make sure that I kept the wings. See, I just dropped it. Try to keep them relatively even or the same size. Now, I don't mind seeing pencil sketches in my illustrations. So, and then the second set of wings comes off of this part. I'm not an insect person, so I don't really know proper names for the parts of the body or anything. So no one that is an insect enthusiast get upset with me. I just like drawing them. If you guys remember for World Watercolor Month, I drew that moth. Um, and I drew a wasp as well. I just like drawing insects, pretty insects. And these just kind of drop. And this one I made a little bit bigger by accident, but it still looked relatively proportionate to the rest of everything else. So I just left it. And then the face or the head is like a helmet. Um, so with a little thingy, I think it looks kind of cool personally. I think I made the little hump up top too big, but so there is like the shape of the dragonfly. Let's see if we can make it look like a dragonfly. So I'm going to start off with this light blue pencil because in the reference photo, this part is blue on the dragonfly. I'll hold it up so you guys can see it in just a second. It is on Unsplash. I also go back and throw it in the video description now that I know what we were going to paint. So I'm going to actually lay down all of my color first before I try to um, disperse any pigment. So I'm going to put a little bit of this blue up in the wing area, just a little. I'm have really light pressure because the wings are see-through, sort of translucent. But I do want to keep some harmony, so I'm going to throw in just sort of around the outline so I can drag that color in. And go ahead and get your credit card scraper ready because we're going to be using it for the detail in the wing. And I'm basically just adding a really light color because eventually we'll be adding brown in there in a second. And I'm probably going to have to pull a brown from this watercolor pencil set because the only brown that's in the 12 color set, unless you actually mix the brown yourself, is really dark. I'm just going to throw a little color up in there. Okay, I just want to borrow, there's a color in here called Tawny or something like that. Yes, yeah. I don't know, it's sort of like a raw sienna color, not quite yellow ochre, not quite yellow ochre, not quite burnt sienna, but I'm gonna color all of his little body. You guys we're doing this together, friends. I'm gonna put detail in when it's time, but for right now, just putting down a base layer. And like I said, I was gonna show you guys the reference photo. So here's the reference photo I'm using, just so you can see the guy. Let's hope I can make him look somewhat like that. Let's see if I can make him look somewhat like what he looks on the paper. Because I'm gonna put a little of this down here. Yes, I understand that blue is in it, and it's just gonna help mix to make it darker. But I'm gonna put a little bit down around, and I need a little bit in the wings as well, where the wings kind of start. And of course, I'm just using the reference photo as a reference. I'm not trying to be 100% exact, but I do want it to make sense. Okay. Let's see here. I did not use a lot of pressure with I mean, those pencils. This is a 140-pound cold press paper, so it kind of grabs the pigment pretty well. I'm going to grab the brown here. Let's leave the colors I've used out so we can refer back to them when we need to. I'm going to grab the brown in the Giorgione set and kind of start to put in a little bit of the shadow for this stuff. Not too much because I just kind of want to get a base layer down. But you'll start to see his body start to kind of take a little bit of shape as we start to add in these darker areas. Just getting some. And I'm just kind of referring back and forth to my reference photo, trying, oh, I made that too big. It's okay. Have to try to make the rest of it match. It'll be okay. And I'm just looking back and forth, trying to make sure that I'm at least getting a halfway decent representation of what I'm supposed to be seeing here. Yeah, it definitely has across the wing area a little bit more of that darkness. It's almost like they're attaching across the back like that. And this is just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? Of course, that's what I'm gonna tell myself. Um, and I guess I really need a darker blue, maybe. That's not quite blue. That's actually blue, almost black. But we'll start off with a darker blue, and we'll see how that works. I may end up going in there with a different color for that. I think I probably will. That's okay. We'll worry about that later. And then the end of that is actually black, sort of a gray, and it comes down. Um, it comes down into almost like a little pointy antenna part like that. It's kind of cool. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. And that whole area is like black and blue, black and blues. Anybody remember that song? So I'm gonna actually mix black and blue down there. If I need to, I'll throw a little orange in to counteract the blue and make it more neutral. But for right now, I think this may work out okay. We'll see when we start to add the water to it. He doesn't look half bad. I had to stand up and look at him on camera because I don't have my chat going right at the second. Now you can sharpen your pencils and work from a sharp lead, like I would always suggest, like if you were using like color pencils. But I will say, when it comes to watercolor pencils, especially if they have wood, I tend to try not to sharpen my pencil unless I have to. I'll work from the pencil as long as I can without having to sharpen it to save the media. Um, and sometimes I won't even use a sharpener. I'll use like a knife to just kind of get rid of the wood and keep the lid. That's a little tip, especially if you have wooded watercolor. If you have wooded watercolor pencils, and you want to save as much of the lid as you can, so take you an X-Acto knife or a wood knife or whatever you use, and just like we used to do with pencils in school, chip away at the wood. That way, you don't sharpen the pencil and actually sharpen the lid. And if you use the lid on the side as you're using it, it'll help you keep a sharp point. That way, you will make your watercolor pencils go a lot further, a lot further. All right, let's see. Let's add some water to this. Let's get started with that. Excuse me. Let's add some water to this and see what's what. Head, thorax, abdomen. There we go. Thank you, Nicole. Dragonfly, cool. Yeah, we ended up working head, thorax, abdomen. Joyce, you're new to watercolors? Watercolor? That is so cool. Welcome. to the wide world of fun, my friend, because that's what it is. It is a wide world of fun. Now, if you're using a water brush, water brushes are going to have nylon bristles in them. I have yet to find a water brush that's made from real brush hair, so you won't have that to worry about. But I'm going to be using the brushes that I've been using lately, the Transon brushes, which actually I like a lot. As you can see, I really use them a lot. Um, I need something that I can halfway decent size. I don't know. I'll try to work with this number 7 flat to start off with, mainly because a flat is not going to hold a lot of water, and I also have a rag or a paper towel. You want to keep one of those something handy to help wipe the water off of your brush and control help with water control, especially when you're working with watercolor pencils. Because what? One of the main things to remember when it comes to a watercolor pencil is that unlike watercolor paints, too much water can be the enemy, right? So we're just going to start in by going in and liquefying. We'll start with the wing. And this is just the first layer. We'll look at other techniques throughout the course of this as we need to. And this will sort of give you a glimpse into what you'll see in the watercolor pencil 101 course as well. The type of techniques we'll cover, but much more in depth. We'll do we'll end up doing several different type of paintings, all ranging from beginner to intermediate to advanced. That tawny is such a pretty color. Now we want to be careful with the pigment on that wing, because keep in mind when I showed you the picture, the wing is translucent. You can like see through the wing. Although I am working with a watercolor pencil, so mine probably won't be as translucent as the one in the picture, but again, we use a reference photo for what? Reference, not a copy, because in that case, we could just use the picture, right? And these pencils dissolve relatively well. That's one of the reasons I chose them. Now, I have done the review of the 120 count of these pencils, and it's on the channel if anybody want to check it out. But the art box only has a 12 count in it because it's just meant to get you introduced. I put down too much of that tawny in the wings, but that's okay. I'm just going to make sure I blend it out really, really well so that we'll still get the same effect I was originally going to be going for. And it kind of added some green. That tawny has like a red pigment in it, evidently. So it added almost this green hue to it. So pretty cool. Wasn't necessarily what I was expecting, but just like with watercolor paints, you learn to just roll with the flow with any of your water soluble products. And you have much more control over watercolor pencils than you do over watercolor paints to a certain degree. I'm just blending it all the way out. Make sure I don't have any harsh lines because that's going to get much darker right at the intersection part. I didn't want to start there. Now this brush is a little unusual for this particular illustration. It probably would be Much better if I was using a round, especially in the wing area. But sometimes you only have one brush, right? What if you only have one brush? You have to learn that one brush can actually work in many different situations and applications. I'm laying that in really well. That wing's gonna have more green on it. That's okay. Seriously, it's gonna be 100% okay. Watch what I tell you. And plus, we're not taking this painting too seriously. It's a watercolor pencil sketch. All right, I'm gonna switch over to this point. I need a round brush. I'm going after this number 5 round now. All the brushes I'm using, these Trenson brushes, they are all nylon. They're dyed a light gray and a black, sort of mimicking a golden Teclon, but not in browns, black instead. Now I'm gonna go and with let's start with the blue. Now I should have put down the lighter blue base first before I put in the details, but I was getting happy and carried away, showing you guys how to start to make the dragonfly look like a dragonfly. So I'm gonna go around my darker blue at first. I may hit it here and there and drag it in, but that's fine. But I am gonna try to go around it at first. It's gonna do the same thing it did in the wing. When you get up to the brown area and start to hit that tawny, it's gonna kind of turn brown. I'm sorry, start to kind of turn green. So that tawny must be closer to like a burnt sienna color because it's definitely got a red undertone to it. That or yellow undertone to it. I'm sorry, that pushes it green when it comes in contact with blue. Now, of course, those pencils are Arteza pencils that Tony came from, and they don't come with any type of light fast information. And the thing about watercolor pencils, even the professional brands, they don't typically tell you what pigment is in the pencil. I'm trying to think, is there any watercolor pencil on the market that gives you the pigment code? Honestly, I don't think there is. Do this little black section down here since, and I'm gonna blend that up into, hold on, let me see, the abdomen. And then I'll go ahead and tackle the darker blue in the tail. I feel like I can already tell you we're gonna be glazing on top of that because that's really harsh. But at this point, you can actually be sure to shape it, kind of put it in a semi-circle motion as you stroke it. That way, the abdomen starts to take actual shape. And notice how little I actually go back for water when it comes to watercolor pencils. Hey Terry, what you sewing? What you working on, friend? I'm gonna stick with this same brush to go ahead and liquefy the brown that's at the top here. And keep in mind we have that tawny, and then we went back in with um, our darker brown from the Giorgione set. So we're gonna get all type of color mixtures in here. Okay, let's get this part. We're gonna come back in and by the time we get done liquefying all of this, we can really start having fun because the wings should be dry enough for us to go in with the second layer. And now we're going to start adding in all of the major details on our guy here. Really get him to looking like a dragonfly. But for the first layer, not bad. You can tell what he is. Just want to see if I can bring a little bit more realism to him. Realism. Realism. All right. Okay, so for the next stage, as we work, other things should get dry. You want to grab your credit card scraper, gift card scraper, whatever you use as your scraper, you want to grab it. And I'm also going to grab a palette. But this is not any old palette. This is a watercolor pencil palette. So Thrifty, what do you mean? So this is a plastic palette that I took and scratched up with sandpaper, because that sandpaper put all of these grooves of texture and just like abraded the surface of the plastic, right? Well, what's the point in it? The point is that I can then take watercolor pencils or crayons or whatever other water soluble stick media I have and scrape it around inside those wells and create a wash from the actual pencil versus having to use paints. And I do still have in mind that I have this sitting here, but I'm trying not to use it because it's not the actual Giorgione pencils. So I'll show you the first technique. Let me clean out one of these little whales first because I'm going to need that. I'm going to show you two different techniques. I'll do one per wing so you can get a really good look at what we're doing. First, I'm going to clean out a few of these whales so I have them to work with. And it's watercolor pencil, so I'm just using a damp studio rag to wipe up the whale, just like you would do it with paints. And then it's good to go and ready to use. I gotta stop being so forthcoming about all the watercolor pencil tips and tricks, because ain't nobody gonna want to buy the class. You can get it all free on the tubes. All right. So before I show you this first one, I'm gonna prepare myself for the second one. Now, what I'm was talking about, I'm gonna take this pencil and I'm gonna rub it around inside that wheel, and all of those scratches that were put in there from the sandpaper is gonna grab the pigment. I don't need much because this is going to be really light and see-through, remember? All right, so I'll put that there for the second technique. For the first technique, we're going to grab a brush. Let me put my rag back down. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, so the first one, we're going to grab a brush. We'll pull some of the water out. And then we are going to touch directly onto the the watercolor pencil lid. And pick up just a little bit of pigment. And now we're going to go in here and blend that pigment in. You can grab you some water with that wing. You're just going to tap in a little bit of the pigment at a time. And I'm not touching the wood part. I'm just going in and grabbing that color off the lid of the pencil. Now, while it's wet, I'm going to grab my credit card scraper and, I don't know, start putting in some designs on my homie's wings here. Sure, it doesn't have to be perfect. At this point, I'm not even looking at the reference photo. Kind of just making it up as I go. And you can connect some of those because some of those are connected. But with something like this, you don't really want to do too much detail. Go back in here. I'm not sure if that's picking up on camera. I might need to add just a smidget of the darker blue here and there, just so the texture will pick up. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'm gonna pick it up. Now, I wouldn't want to like use the watercolor pencil directly because it would cause too harsh of a mark on the paper. I am trying to get these to stand out a little bit more. And then there is lots of like texture and where's the reference photo? I'm gonna grab that darker brown while it's still wet, and maybe I won't. Maybe just a line or two while it's wet, not too much. I'm gonna be putting more of that in there, but I just kind of want to see how that would work on the wet paper. I think I'm gonna wait till that's dry. Let's do the next wing. I'm still not sure if the detail in the wing is showing up. Maybe you guys can see it. I want to wet this with this wing. Let's see if we can get this one to be a little better. We'll try this technique again where we pull directly from the pencil lid here. All right, now with that color down, I'm gonna go in and once again try to do some designs on the wings. Still not quite. Color's just not dark enough. Let me grab that darker blue again. Let's see if we can mix just a little bit of that in just to bring those out just a little bit. Still trying to keep it translucent looking. So I'm not sure if you guys can see the texture in the wing. I can see it here, but I'm not sure how well it's translating on camera. I don't know. All right. Let's try the other technique over on this one. We'll add a little water to the pigment we had, and we're basically making a wash. And I'll with this wing, pick up some color, and then we're just going to bring it over and paint with it. And it's that simple. We'll grab And at this point, it's just carving in designs in the wings. I wish they were more prevalent. Let's grab a little bit more of that blue. Let's mix it with some of the darker blue. See what we get here. Wetting that wing, grabbing color, going in on top of it. And the reason we're keeping it so wet is because we want it light, really light. Because keep in mind, we're supposed to be able to see through the wing, or you're supposed to have the notion that you can see through the wing. Okay. And a bit more color. Trying to sharpen things up a little bit. It's subtle, but it's there. But I guess it's supposed to be subtle. It's the wing, right? Right. Let's see if you guys can see that. All right. Let's go ahead and get this wrapped up because, of course, this shouldn't take this long at all, right? Let's do the abdomen area. I'm grabbing color from my pencil again. And I'm going in and really kind of shading it in some areas, putting in a secondary color, leaving sort of a highlight in there as well, giving some structure, grabbing a darker color. And I don't want to outline it, but I do want to just, especially on this side, give it shape. And I'm going to go on top of that with blue as well. Should that come all the way down the middle of the abdomen? Let me see. No, because in that area it's kind of gold, so it should only come down, starting where I had it going, which is cool. And I'll blend it down just a little bit from each one of them, like in a V shape almost. Or like I'm swatching the color on the abdomen. That's sort of what it ends up looking like. Okay. All right. Grab the darker brown and let's see, we're gonna have circle right there. And then all of this is brown, browner. That in the middle stays sort of brownish yellow. Now, this is where you can make the decision whether or not you actually want to blend out your pencils. You do not necessarily have to blend out your pencils. There's no rule that says you do. I always judge it based on their smudging ability. Um, if they smudge a lot in their dry form, I'll typically make sure to blend them out. But if I'm able to get away with not blending them out, I try to see if I can do that. All right, now I need to put these because there's a lot of this color. There's a lot of this color. Oh my goodness. Guys hearing the noise in the background, just forgive it. My neighbors are um, interesting people. Let me close my glass. Hold on 1 second. I have to close the door to my studio. Is that looking cool? Let me zoom in a little. Yes, Ruby. Interesting people. Interesting people. Let's see. Then this is darker up to this point. But that almost looks like it glows or something. It's so weird um, how that. Well, that didn't go quite right, but we're gonna roll with it anyway. No, at all. Yeah, right. All right. Don't know. At this point, I'm just like trying to add in all the secondary, and it doesn't look exactly like my guy in the photo, but hey, you know, it's a dragonfly. You can see that. I'm gonna blend this out just a smidget, especially on the wing area. See if I can put some water on it, just kind of drag it in. Maybe it'll have some effect on the texture. Oh, I didn't even put it up here. Okay, I'm gonna throw a background into this real quick, and then we'll call it. He's not bad looking. He's not beautiful, but he's not bad looking. He came out okay. Of course, it always takes so much time, so much more time when you're recording to do something than it would if you weren't trying to like talk through it, explain it. Because honestly, this project should be only about 15 minutes. I know it's taking us about 30, maybe 45, mainly because I'm talking through it. Okay, we're gonna have to do better. Let's put in, let's see, and it's gotta be on something, right? Can't just be floating. I guess that needs to be a little thick as well. On a piece of blade of grass or something. Who knows? I'm using slightly more pressure than normal. I'm just trying to throw in a little background right quick. Several different ways you can do this as well. This technique is dry on dry. And I'm trying to see how high up I want to go with this, and if I want to take it into, is the whole thing grass? Fine, the whole thing is grass. Maybe it's some blue in there. I don't know. At this point, we're just toning the background. We're going to work it out as we go. All right, I'm going to take that flat brush I was working with earlier and just go in and start to, actually, I want to take it away from the wing. So I'm going to go this way with it. And at this point, you can just really drop a lot of water on it, but you're not necessarily trying to get any clarity with anything. You just want a background color that you can paint on top of. So that's really all I'm trying to achieve here as a background color. Once it dries, we're going to put some more grasses on top of it, which is why I'm not really concerned with how much water I'm using here. I want it to kind of diffuse and push everything around and be sort of light in tone. Watercolor pencils are super quick, or can be super quick, especially like plein air painting. I love painting a good old landscape in watercolor pencils because you can get it done so quick. And of course, when you're not trying to quote unquote teach it or show somebody what you're doing, you can paint it so quick anyway. I'm not really being too careful. If I pull color from the dragonfly into the background, oh well, doesn't matter to me. Oh, you guys can't see because I zoomed in. Should have told me. Probably did tell me in the comments. I just haven't looked. I'll zoom out so we can work on the background. See what's going on. Basically, I'm just liquefying the green all around. Using way more water than I normally would. So there, that was just liquefying the background. I'm gonna grab the same green and the paper is wet, so it should help make like permanent marks. I should have had this taped down. My bad that it's not. They'll just work for some background grasses. I don't care too much about it. I'm gonna grab, there's a darker green in this set. I'm gonna take that darker green and go down the side of the grass here. Maybe I shape the grass as I go. Draw a couple of streaks at that end. Mhm. Okay. It can work better if I pour down on, who knows. Let's liquefy this. Okay. That ain't too bad. Maybe, maybe there is, maybe it's going that way for scale. And then maybe this way for scale. Yeah, let's do that. And this paper is wet, so these colors aren't going anywhere. They will not move. This is so fun. Really, give this a try, friends. Seriously. Go home. If you're not giving this a try already, give it a try. Seriously. This is fun. I'm just kind of playing with it at this point. But watercolor pencils are fun and quick, and they're such a direct medium. They're such a direct medium. All right, I'm going to dissolve the water on that. Not dissolve the water, dissolve the pencil. And I'm just touching it with a wet brush, letting that dark green and light green blend together. I'm not really worried about keeping them separated. I just want to make sure I maintain the shape of my little grass. There, that's not too bad. I really wish you could see the detail in the wings a little bit more, but it's not too bad. It'll look a little better with some highlight on him. I really feel like it needs some more dark in certain areas. So let's wrap this up by, I wonder if I should use black. I'm just going to use pull pigment directly from the pencil. Let's see if that's going to really enhance the dark the way I need it to. And I think that's going to work. I think that's going to give me some of it. Like I messed that part up right there myself, but what can you do is down there. Like seriously, what can you do? Okay. Um, I feel like he needs. And hopefully it'll look better when I put the white on it. Or it'll look like it's supposed to look once the white goes on it. Some of those areas are darker. Some of them stay lighter. Just trying not to get rid of the light in the area I'm supposed to. All right. And then this. All right. And I'm gonna give this 2 seconds. Ooh, that was too much. Oh well. I'm gonna give this 2 seconds to dry. And then I'm gonna go in with a white gel pen. Those Arteza watercolor pencils liquefy so easily. I know it's bringing out the texture on the wing too. You can see it a lot better. All right. I'm gonna put a few splatters, and that's not gonna. You know what? I'm not gonna worry myself with that. I'm gonna use switching over to number 8. So, friends, hopefully you have enjoyed something about this video. If you're here live, don't forget to sprinkle a little love, give the video a thumbs up. If you're watching in replay, don't forget to sprinkle a little love, give the video a thumbs up. Sprinkling a little bit of green down here at the bottom. I don't care what it goes over or doesn't go over. Maybe a little bit up here at the top. Got some flyaway grasses maybe. I'm trying to avoid my dragonfly wings as much as possible, but if I hit them, it's not a big deal. Just feel like it'll help make a simple painting better. Some little flyaways in the background. Let's add a little darker green to that. So I'm going to actually pull the color off of the darker green lid and mix it into that little wash I just made to turn it dark green. And let's do a little of that. Brush is kind of big, splatters are kind of big. Don't really care. All right, I think that'll be good. It's a little weird that the splatters don't go right up to the wings. Fix that. Grab a white gel pen. And I just sit here, and this is what I encourage you to do. Just sit down and play with your products. You don't have to be looking for, you don't have to be looking for like perfection when you do stuff like this. You're just trying to. I've never really done the dragonfly. Like if I told you that, you probably figured that out already. But I'm just saying, like, sure, it wasn't hard for you to figure that out. Putting some This is my Uniball. Now this paper is still semi-wet. That's why I like this white gel pen. You see how it's gliding onto this paper, and this paper is actually still wet. Everybody has their own favorite like white gel pens, though I know. Everybody has their favorites. Um, let's see. My homeboy got here, here. He's got highlight here, down the back rim of his eye here. Let's see. Here and here. Got it going across the back of the wing. It's also down the bottom of the wing. On this side, it's in several different spots as far as the wing goes. You can just really see the wing almost glistening on this one. Uh, Not much across this thorax here, here, a little bit there just because I want to, not because I see it on the picture. Uh, this wing, damn near outline. This wing is too. It's almost a little thick on that one. It's kind of nice. And here, it like loves to touch on like what a darker part of the wing is. Um, and then here, it's kind of semicircled. And actually, here, I left off a darker mark there, which would have made such a difference. Take it down, top of, and sort of these areas. Not trying to outline them too much, but all of this is sort of glistening. And then towards the bottom, it's a lot going on down here that it's probably gonna be way too much detail for me to get in. It's actually a little red streak there too, but we're not gonna worry about that. Okay, that's it. That's good. Let's see, we need to liven up our little stalk here. It's being touched by the light on that side. Just a little bit, just a little highlight, not much. Same thing over here. As a matter of fact, my pen is skipping. Okay. I think that's good. It's cute. Something that you guys should definitely give a try. So yeah, jump in the chat box. Let me know what you thought. Jump in the comment section if you're watching on replay. Let me know what you think of today's little, kind of weird dragonfly thingy. um, cause yeah, it was cool to paint though. It really was. It was kind of fun to paint. Um, kind of try to sketch out. I'll definitely give a dragonfly another shot on another day. Let me see. Do I have a black? Yes. Oh, I kind of smeared all of that with my hand. It's kind of cool though. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, it's kind of cool. So as you can see, never be scared, never be afraid. Always experiment. Always try to grow. Try your hands at things that you've never tried your hand at before. If I had to say it, I love the way the wings turned out. The abdomen turned out really well. This part up in here could probably use a little bit more work, but you could definitely tell it's a dragonfly. And yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun. I actually didn't want to stop. I may do something else of the sort. There you have it, friends. I'm gonna check the video description. I mean the video description. I say that all the time. The chat. And then I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up here. Um, Patreon. We will be meeting up tonight. I've already put up um, the link for tonight's Creation Station video. We are going to be doing a lesson tonight, so we're going to get back into the flow of trying to learn some things, my friends. We're going to be talking about transparency, if I'm not mistaken. Transparency in your watercolors. So hopefully I will see you guys tonight for that. Is there something in here that shouldn't be? Don't worry about it. Back and forth later. So there you have it. So those watercolor pencils, friends, and this is really what it was really just to kind of show you some things you could do. I mean, the only thing I used from another set was the tiny. So those watercolor pencils will actually work really, really, really well. Um, so if you know someone, if you're someone who's never tried watercolor pencils, or you knew someone who might be interested in a medium, grabbing one of those art boxes for them is going to be a really good thing because they're going to have a nice set of pencils to start with and give a try. Thank you, Ruby. He has personality, yes. Thanks. Yeah, it turned out okay. It's not the best, but I see some things about it. I like some things I would change. But either way, I'm hoping that you guys are going to give him a try. And like I said, as soon as this video is over, I'm going to link the reference photos since we decided at last minute what to do. So I'm going to link the reference photo so that you can go check out the reference photo and give it a try for yourself. Let's see. Is there anything else I needed to? We are currently, in the testing phase of the DaVinci watercolors, so there will be a review for those DaVinci watercolors coming up sooner than later. I don't think it'll be this Friday. It may turn out being next Friday. But I have done a few paintings with those DaVinci watercolors. If I'm not mistaken, this was painted with the DaVinci, and I know that this was painted with the Da Vinci. Oh, there's that moth I was telling you guys about. So there's the moth. Like the moth turned out so much better than so much better than a dragonfly. Oh, and I'll show you the wasp too. Now the wasp is the one I was the most proud of. So I've done a few insects. So here's the wasp, and the wasp was done back during World Watercolor Month. Now, in combination with all three, the dragonfly don't look too bad. Like the sum is greater than its parts here. So, like, if I was to like frame all these and put them on a wall together, the I think that the way the moth and the way the wasp turned out would kind of carry the rest of the weight for the dragonfly. But anyway, Um, anything else? Nope. All right, friends. Patreon, I'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Again, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Feel free to share because sharing is caring and it's going to help this thrifty art community grow. get some other wonderful viewers and artists and people like yourselves over in the community. Uh, if you're new and you haven't subscribed, do so. Please hit that notification bell so you'll know when we go live and upload every Monday, every Wednesday. Check the video description for all the relevant links. You're going to find my most recommended product list down there. So you guys can definitely go check that out in case you're looking for something, maybe starting to think about Christmas gifts, although, you know, the economy is hard right now. There are links to Palm Street, so you can go check out the Palm Street store and grab your October 2025 thrifty art box, which has the Giorgione watercolor pencils in it. Um, or grab one as a gift for someone that, maybe want to try. All of the social sites are down there. Patreon link is down there. Definitely check out the Creation Station because we have a ball over in the Creation Station. We're always experimenting and trying something new. And the Creation Station comes with a lot of perks and a lot of different videos. So definitely check that out. Anything else? Nope. So look forward to the video drop on Wednesday for the first video of Thrifty Pastel Month. If you're participating in Thrifty Pastel Month, don't forget you just post it over on Instagram, tag me, hashtag Thrifty Pastel Month 2025. Every single entry is on, or every single post that I'm tagged in will be an entry for that person into the mega prize package, which is going to be, oh, let me see if I can remember off the top of my head. A set of Faber Castell Gold Faber Creative Studio mini chalk pastels. Um, oh goodness, what else is in that giveaway? Hold on, let me look. I want to be accurate about it. Um, You are going to get Faber-Castell Creative Studio Soft Pastel Mini Sticks, the Color Pro Pastel Chalk Colored Pencils, and a 25 set of eye crayon water soluble wax pastels or crayons. So all of that is included in the prize package. So be sure to check out the prompt list here on YouTube. You can check it out over on Instagram, which is the hosting site. Don't forget, every single time you post and tag me in it for any one of the four prompts um, will be an entry. So a person has a chance to get up to four entries into the prize drawing. Week one is outside. Week two is dessert. I'm sorry, not desert, dessert. Week three is snow. And week four is bold. You have a week to do each prompt. There's only four. So you can use any watercolor medium. I mean any pastel medium. I'm sorry. So chalk pastels, oil pastels, wax pastels, water soluble wax pastels, which are typically called watercolor crayons, pastel shades of watercolor, pastel shades of gouache, oil pastels, chalk pastels. I may have said that. Pastel pencils, pastel color pencils. So there are so many different ways you can tackle the whole pastel theme in order to participate. So don't let the word pastel discourage you. I hope that you guys decide to, and I look forward to seeing all of your entries. In the meantime, go out, enjoy the rest of your weekend. As I tell you at the end of every single video, my friends, just keep creating.